Have you ever woken up with a weight in your chest, feeling like the clock is ticking, but you're stuck on repeat? We scroll, we consume, we distract ourselves, sensing that the life we want is out there, but the life we're actually living is just a placeholder, a muted provisional existence. This isn't laziness, it's something deeper. It's the psychology of the Puer Aeternus, the eternal youth, what many call the man-child, or Peter Pan syndrome. It's the tragedy of a life lived not in reality, but in potentiality. We're artists without art, talents waiting to be found, perpetually waiting for the moment we finally grow up. But what are we truly waiting for? And what are we so afraid of? The core fear of the Puer Aeternus is commitment, not just to a job or a partner, but to the actualities of human existence, responsibility, disappointment, and the finite nature of time. To commit to one thing, a career, a marriage, a defined purpose, feels like a surrender. It's signing a contract that says, "This is who I am. This is what I choose, and I am giving up all other possibilities." To the eternal youth, that is a fate worse than failure. They would rather retain the dazzling, infinite possibilities of what could be than risk the mundane reality of what is. They live in the exhilarating precipice of actuality, where everything is still blossoming and nothing has had a chance to die. Why is the beginning so much more appealing than the middle? We are constantly seduced by nostalgia. Think of our music and our literature. What do songs romanticize? They obsess over the first kiss, the pursuit, the anxiety of attainment. They rarely celebrate the monotonous daily rhythm of a stable 10-year relationship. The idea of love is more exciting than the experience of it. In literature, the Bildungsroman often ends right when the wandering protagonist finally finds their answer or achieves some stability. The finality itself is the closure. We are addicted to the thrill of the chase, the rush of newness, and the delicious uncertainty of the start, because that's where our potential feels limitless. Settling into the middle means acknowledging that the story is less about discovery and more about work. Here is where the real sadness lies. The Puer Aeternus is often not a person of low intelligence or skill. On the contrary, many were the gifted children of adolescence, the best in art class, articulate, quick to learn. They achieved early success seemingly without effort. Their natural talent got them far. But eventually, life demands more than natural talent. It demands discipline, resilience, and the willingness to be bad at something new. When faced with the challenge of learning something that requires actual struggle, they recoil. Why? Because struggling means risking inadequacy. It means realizing that you might not be special. They choose to retreat into the world of, "I could have been a great writer," rather than face the pain of publishing a mediocre first novel. They prefer the safety of potential over the vulnerability of reality. This manifests most clearly in career life. The Puer Aeternus is plagued by the question, "Is this job me?" They believe their work must be a complete, perfect reflection of their soul and passion. Any work that feels mundane, transitional, or beneath them is rejected as a threat to their true identity. They cycle through jobs, or they remain chronically underemployed, waiting for the perfect alignment. They may disdain the daily rat race, feeling it is both overwhelming and beneath them. This avoidance is a defense mechanism. By never committing to a career, they ensure that if they fail, It's the job that failed them, not their intrinsic talent. Their ego remains protected, shining bright in the abstract realm of what I could do. The Puer Aeternus treats relationships much like careers, as a space for excitement and novelty, not stability. They are masters of the situationship. They can be charming, magnetic, and full of grand ideas, seducing others with the same promises they make to themselves. But they always keep one foot out the door. Why? Because genuine intimacy demands that you show up as you are, flaws and all, and that you accept the other person as they are, flaws and all. This means giving up the fantasy of the perfect partner and accepting the imperfect reality. Any long-term partner inevitably becomes an excuse to jump ship. They snore, they live too far, they are too demanding, too many days in a row, and God forbid, this might actually be the one. And that level of commitment is seen as a terrifying limitation of their future potential. To be fair, the world makes this retreat easier. We live in an age of immense economic uncertainty, rising inequality, and a job market where stability is rare and gratification is even rarer. It's a harsh world that offers little in the way of clarity or closure. When the adult world seems rigged, chaotic, and unrewarding, it actually becomes sincere and even heroic in its own way to refuse to play the game. Why settle for a miserable 9-to-5 when the world is screaming, be an entrepreneur, be a digital nomad? The cultural push toward a hyper-individualized, self-defined life inadvertently feeds the Puer Aeternus, allowing them to cling to the illusory romanticism of what could be, rather than facing the struggle of what is. The eternal youth creates their own Neverland, a place where you never have to grow up. But Neverland is a lonely place. The constant chasing of surface-level experiences, the next party, the next fling, the next high adrenaline venture, is merely an attempt to numb the persistent twilight calling of something greater. In moments of solitude, the Puer looks back at a handful of lovers, half-finished projects, and abandoned friendships, and feels a deep, soul-crushing loneliness. The provisional life, designed to protect them from pain, ironically causes the most profound pain of all: the deep knowledge that they are not living their truth, that their life is ungrounded, and that they are drifting without a captain. How do we break this cycle? It begins with a courageous realization. Growing up does not mean losing your vitality, creativity, or potential. It means integrating them. Carl Jung suggested that maturity, commitment, and responsibility can actually become the guardians of your dreams and values. They are the frame that holds the painting. The answer is to embrace the courage to be normal. We often view normalcy as conformity, as giving up on being the main character. But there is profound heroism in the mundane. Riding the bus, taking night classes, showing up consistently for a job that isn't your dream job yet, answering emails from an annoyed boss. These acts are an extraction of the ego from the mission. They force you to recognize that there are things larger and more important than you and your perfect individualized narrative. When you work out there, trying things, getting dirty, and being accountable, you finally exit the protective womb of potentiality. This outward focus is the only way out of stagnation because it grounds you in shared reality. The key shift is this: stop waiting for someone or something to save you, to pick you, or to carry you off to your destiny. You must self-initiate. You must choose to become the captain of your fate and the master of your soul. This is not about finding the perfect life plan. It's about choosing any plan and giving it your full attention. It's about replacing the question, "What if I choose wrong?" with the question, "What do I care about right now?" The world is shrinking the job market in some areas, but it is begging for creative thinking in others, in ecological solutions, in community organizing, in addressing wealth inequality. There are positions, but they are earned through commitment. The great paradox of adulthood is that true freedom is found not in infinite choice, but in structure and limitation. By choosing one partner, you gain the freedom of deep intimacy and shared history, which are impossible when you're constantly swiping for the next best thing. By choosing one career path, you gain the freedom of mastery and self-respect that comes from expertise. This commitment is not a cage, it is a foundation upon which you can truly build your dreams. Your energy, which was scattered across 1,000 potentials, is now focused like a laser beam, making those once abstract dreams real. You have danced along the surface of life for too long, feeling the rhythm, but never joining the dance. You have been a spectator, but the world does not need your potential. It needs your action. The time for someday is over, because nobody is coming to live your life for you. That voice that says you're smarter, more creative, and more beautiful than the people you see achieving things. It's only true if you prove it. The plunge may be cold, the risk of failure is real, and the mundane is inevitable. But the reward is worth it. A life fully realized. It's time to stop waiting for life to happen to you and start happening to life. If this spoke to your soul, hit the like button and let me know in the comments. What is the one commitment you are ready to make this week? Subscribe for more deep dives into the psychology of modern life.